Yeah, we're back, y'all. I told you we'd be back today. Don't go to sleep too soon, Julia. Good evening, Esther. I think I see Sky Maiden there. Hello, Sky Maiden. Good to see you, and Susan B. Darlene, what's going on? Darlene, are you the lawyer, Darlene? Or is that a different Darlene? She's a Darlene too, but I thought she was in a different account. Hey, Maine. Yo, house music. This might be something or nothing, says Cooper, but I've noticed a few occasions, including possible RCMP docs, that Justin and Janie's brother get confused. Janie says her brother, then corrects herself. That you're saying that Justin and Janie's brother gets confused? Who's confusing it, Cooper? In documents, you mean? Like whoever's writing? Uh-oh, Alice in Chains almost took off there. That was a good tune. Too bad I would get struck down upon that. They would say, no, you can't play that on your channel. How dare you? Actually, they'd say okay, but they wouldn't allow me to monetize it. One moment, please. Yeah, we're back. We're back for round 2 today, everybody. Round 1 was okay. We did a lot of talking, that's for sure. Lindy, it's good to see you, darling. Welcome back in. Listen, they brought in the Cadaver dogs, and before I forget, we should just make mention we should make mention about how exactly, or what exactly they are going to search. And of course, we don't have a list, but obviously they would have a long list of things and places they would need search to justify bringing in this team in that sense. My favorite part about it all that I heard, there's a few clips that give me a little bit of hope and a glimmer in a way that I had not noticed before. And I got that over off the news of all places, and just what they were referencing about how they weren't announcing. They were just going to go and search unannounced in that circumstance. And that perked up my ears, and I thought, oh, that's got to be great. Janie's going to be stressed out again. Here we go. Janie's dog is shedding in that sense. Good to see you, Charmaine. But I really like this. What was I reading? Who sent me that? I better not say. There's talk of this 5-speed car. Not sure if you saw this on Mike's chat yesterday. Oh, by the way, Belinda thinks this is Justin's. Belinda Gray, Grandma Belinda, thinks that this is Justin's, and this was either parked away or in the back of the investigation. Yeah, so I was over in Mike's with that conversation yesterday. I was listening in, and Belinda was in the chat talking about this particular blue car, this little Impreza that they were trying to sell a few years ago that used to belong to his brother. And isn't it ironic that he's got a car stowed away? Maybe he couldn't sell it and it's just been sitting in that shed for years. Do we think that it's a good possibility that this may be it? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that is for sure, but listen, this is a 5-speed. I wonder if that's the same car that maybe was heard that night. Come and go 5 different times over the course, or 6 times over the course of those 5 hours between midnight and 5 a.m. So say the reports. It's a very strong possibility. The fact that Belinda Gray is in chat saying that this car, that she thinks that this car was parked. Now, hold on. Let me go pull up Google Earth and I'll show you where she was pointing it out. Whoops. I'll put the big window on. Just give me a moment. Oh, let's immerse ourselves. Let's go deep. Let's go deep, shall we? Oh, look at that. Isn't that something? Go to my Jack and my search sites. So here we go. Now, pink blanket in the tree was down here. Pipeline's down that way. But let's go back. And she's talking about, how well can you see that? Let's see. You can see that right there fairly well. We'll do that. So this blue car, they're saying, Belinda Gray is saying, I should say, over on Mike's, was parked the day. Now, was that Saturday? People in chat, maybe let me know. But it was parked here, almost where I have this pin dropped. And Belinda noticed it. Now, why was it parked so far away from the trailer, which is right here, and the RV? What would you say that is? He walked right through the bush. Was it to stay out of the way? They were talking about how somebody could have possibly identified it and matched it up from being there the night before. He just parked in another spot, and of course Janie was busy doing some raking and some filling of potholes, she claims, the night before. So that's a lot of interesting conversation. Cooper, let me try again and see if anyone picked it up. Janie is giving an interview where she says, me and my brother, then corrects and says, me and Justin. Then I recall someone saying RCMP docs say Ron did. And the documents say different than what they're claiming. Cooper, you're probably picking up on an inconsistency that's been happening and occurring the entire time. Absolutely. Great observation. Where was the timestamp, if you can remember? If you find that, that'll be that's much more, right? But it's, I can believe it. I get what you're saying. Like it's no different than her, Cooper. It's really no different. It's the same thing, I should say, as her messing up the story about Malaya in the driveway, all chill, talking about the kids have been missing for 20 minutes. And then Daniel comes back and says it as though he puts himself in the place of Malaya in that circumstance and tells the same scenario differently with different perspectives. Like, you can't get any more red flag than that, y'all. Just another one. Just another one. But I was getting a kick watching the shit that people type. I was I was reading some of the comments up in this Facebook group. One little drama in this today. This is the kind of conversation that happens on every time somebody posts a video that essentially calls out Daniel and his bullshit lies. All right, and every time, it's not like the people ever actually watch the content and say. They just have something rhetorical to say and spam the comment section as though their word means so much more and it influences anybody else's choice of clicking it on. It's really toxic, and it's so disgusting. And briefly, you're like so thankful for not having to engage in all of that garbage and nonsense that goes on. But you know who does? Callie. Callie gets into these ridiculous fights down there, and it drives people crazy in here. And I got carried away. I got deep into one. I got tied in and reading them, giggling away to myself. Oh, my God. So I kept this one open. And not that it's very special, but, I need you to observe at home from your quiet room with your coffee just how ignorant people can be underneath these. And you don't even have to like somebody, but, in these places, you've got this, most times than not, unless you're in a sock account, of course, or in some other alternative account, it says a lot about yourself and your lack of insight in that sense when you speak about something in a certain way in front of everybody else. It's almost like duping the person who's bullshitting, like Daniel, into believing that you're blindly, for example, believing everything that you hear. And there's plenty of people like that. And it's just a representation of how mentally unhealthy people are in this circumstance or in our environment at any one time. And it's sad. It saddens me. You get family vibes off that DMATS account, Darlene? I'm not sure who that is yet, but I'll keep an eye out. Let me see. Let me read this to you. So this is Daphne. She posted on the 17th. I think she's a mod for Justin. This is Clutch Them Pearls, the channel. Justin's live. Let's talk about Jack and Lily. Join us now. You're not going to want to miss out. And it's not really anything offensive about the title in this particular one, but it's Justin. Okay. God bless him. I love everybody in that sense. I love Justin that way. I've known him well. I don't need to stick up for him in this circumstance. He knows the shit pit that he's in. He knows the environment well enough. So he goes on to say, is that the one you were talking about? This DMATS account? That comment made me laugh. So if that DMATS is family vibes, it made me laugh. Even though it was disparaging against Justin. He calls Justin Barbie boy. He does remind me a bit like a Barbie doll in that sense. That made me laugh. Justin's got a good sense of humor. I'm not laughing because of who he is. You've got to celebrate somebody's individuality no matter what it is in that sense. And, you know, he's unapologetic. I love it. Justin does what he does. And people seem to enjoy it. He's got his own little crew. What can you say? He's got his own little hustle over there. But Barbie Boy was pretty good. Probably my favorite non-offensive statement. So this Callie Gibson gets under and says, D-Mats, he's gorgeous and handsome, man, no matter what he wears. Okay, that's probably a little much. But you see how Callie's obviously trying to instigate probably troll comments. She's looking for a tussle in that sense. She's looking for trouble. This is what happens. So what's the reply to that there? Callie Gibson responds, he's beautiful, whether female or male. We love our Justin. Okay, that's going a bit far. But it's nice to show love. And the fact that they put Barbie Boy with a question mark, I give him an extra point for the question mark, taking away from the fact that it was a disparaging remark towards him in his appearance in that sense. Well done. Well played. So this Callie Gibson says, D. Mats, that is a hate speech statement against the law. What? Oh, talk about Callie Gibson. Callie Gibson in that sense. I love this account in that. So she says, D-Mats, that's a hate speech statement. I'm not sure about that. You're the one insinuating that is something to do with his sexuality and it's supposed to be wrong. Fuck, it's just a snide remark. It's a remark from the peanut gallery. Let it go. It's good. It's you don't want to entertain somebody one way. You've got to take it always. He's getting some heat. So this Irene Sharp, it gets good. Callie Gibson, you are really going to talk about hate speech statements? That's a good. No doubt. You're on everybody's ass. Murray Gibbs says, oh, she's a rising contributor. Oh, my God. Congratulations. Callie Gibson. Okay, Callie. You literally said you wouldn't leave children with gay people. What? Does she have a... Oh, I'll have to leave the page. She's got a link there. I don't think... Can I see that? I don't know about that. Kelsey Ann says, Callie Gibson, but would you leave your grandkids with him since you think he's so great? Or since he's gay, he must be a danger? Oh, so it smells like somebody's trying to bait me. What do you call that? Like, this isn't race baiting. This is identity politics baiting in that sense. And meanwhile, it's the people who are bringing it up are the hateful ones, but they never consider that. It's all about insinuation. It is kind of amusing. So fucking ridiculous. Margaret Hazelwood, why do you people listen to this? They just do these videos to make money. They don't give a rat's ass about Lily and Jack. They are just counting on that you people do care, and that's how they get their money. Now, granted, Margaret, not everybody is like that. You're seeing the world in too generalized of a view. I can understand why you would say that about Justin. Now, that's fine. You can have that opinion about Justin all you want, and maybe you're right. But he doesn't care about that shit because he does it consistently, and that's all that matters to people. Sadly. But you're right. You have a right to your opinion. So, see, I didn't even have to white knight for Justin. So that's an example of it. Is that all of them? I thought there was more than that. Maybe it was another one that I was looking at. What other one was I looking at? Oh, Belinda's statement. Hold on. There's a good statement by Belinda here. Oh, this is Mike Demands. Here's another. He's got another video of Logan, trolling Logan up there. Of course, 41 comments. Gina Fuller and Drew there, a rising contributor. Oh, congratulations there, honey baby. It became apparent the first time I stumbled upon one of his videos. Mike's intentions were to mock and exploit this situation for YouTube fame, because she would know about that, rather than provide anything meaningful about Jack and Lily. I immediately reported his channel. that needs to be pulled down and put in the Hall of Fame. Everybody's a critic in that sense. Quite the opposite, by the way. I didn't even have to stick up for Mike in that circumstance. We all know how off that is. That's the opposite reason Mike is here. Though there's nothing wrong with becoming popular. It means more AdSense. Yeah, they fucking hate Mike. I love it. They hate it. Anything intellectual that challenges their perceived narrative or preferred narrative. Oh, it really doesn't go over well up there. I love it. Let's see what the replies are to this. Mary Dwyer says, Gina Fullerton Druther, I've only listened to him once for 5 minutes. I can't stand him. Marika Saunderson says, Gina Fullerton Druther, what is Mike's channel? The only one I know is Mike Deman. That's great advertisement. Old Marty Rembecki says, I've never actually heard her say anything of the sort, and I've now heard the same interview a bunch of times. The host read a comment with the implication assumed it to be true, and so it did. Even if this was said, or even if it was with intent, in no shape or form has a material impact to the case. In other words, it's the responsibility of the RCMP to do what they have to do in order to bring... This is a dude who just doesn't get it. No, statement analysis, buddy. Statement analysis. It's a thing. It's a thing. And everybody uses it every day except for Marty Rembauke here. Lori Green says, and yes, Mike is correct about those. If I'm not mistaken, Logan said this is in Hidden in the Fog when Cheryl was talking to this woman and Logan joined in, and she did say that about animals. About comparing the kids to the animals? I got to go hear that. I got to go listen to that. Yeah, that's a thing. That's actually a thing. I just don't remember it or don't have a timestamp. The same one that was talking to this so-called witness that said she seen Lily at the park. Raylene D. Meester says, so in other words, Mike's nothing worthwhile, a bunch of gossip and attention-seeking YouTuber making money off of this tragedy. Yep, keep them coming. D-Matt says, Raylene, you're 100% correct. Ironclad, and it's sad ASF. Oh, it's just horrible, especially when people are making money. Imagine what it's like to be Janie. That's got to be, you're right, it's got to be family. Imagine what it's like to sit here and talk all about these assholes all day and how silly they are, in other words, and make money off it. Technically, that's true. That's not the only reason. We're actually concerned about Jack and Lily, but you would never ever know that. You guys are too busy fucking soaking up and wasting all of your time looking at a little phone and hanging out in this group. A group where people share other people's content and you're sitting there complaining about it making money. Why don't you get monetized? Why don't you go talk about it? Why don't you go put in the work? No, somebody else do the thinking for me. They don't quite understand life yet. Going to do a whole lot of shit talking when this case takes a different turn. It's going to be fantastic. And that's where the cadaver dogs could be come in important. By the way, we got thinking a little bit earlier. Exactly when is the perfect time to bring in a cadaver dog? I guess that's a theoretical question, because you can't really, they might not be effective. It's going to depend on the circumstance. It might not be effective right away, necessarily. Although it's probably not out of the question. It's just might not be as necessary. When you bring out the decomp dogs to pick up on decomposition, the longer time goes, the more established the decomposition potentially. So I may as well put that out in the ether that they need to put it on their list. Hopefully Belinda brought that up to the RCMP, because if there's a question about that little Subaru of Daniel's, and that's the 5-speed with in need of new shocks at the back and rear wheel bearings. It's actually probably a nice little car if you're able to fix it yourself. But that's also probably the one that was sitting in the shack, broken down, right? Could possibly be the one that was heard by the neighbor coming and going 6 different times in those 5 hours. So hopefully Belinda brought it up to them to make sure the decomp dogs go through that for a little while. Because at some point in time, if they've had to have transported them somewhere, and they're not going to be that perfect, although it's not like it's a lot of weight that they have to deal with, but it's still, they're pushing it because, you know, could you get out of there, please? Thank you. If we're thinking that something maybe happened between the hours of 10 p.m., say 9 p.m. and midnight on May 1st, forcing them to have to go into this emergency situation throughout the night. Excuse me. Someone's trying to steal my coffee. The point is, I got off kilter there, got off track. The point is, that they're really pushing the time in which the body starts decomposing and could possibly, you know, transfer on to a different material. Yeah, just mid-April. You know it. Oh, Lily, that's very generous of you. Thank you, darling. Yeah, they're bringing in the dogs. Let's go over and take a look right now. Let's listen to the beginning of Daphne's.
He trotted through the twilight wood.
Internet friends, so I'm blessing you today with 2
another tool in their toolbox, so to speak.
This former major crimes investigator says he thinks police are on the right track. The RCMP announced Friday it's bringing in cadaver dogs in the search for Lily and Jack Sullivan, which are used to look for human remains.
But when you call cadaver...
Brian's talking about in my chat. Brian Sutherland, welcome in. You're talking about they got mud samples and dirt samples off of Daniel's car that might contain, they got samples the dogs can sniff. That would be nice. But the only concern with all of that is that not a whole lot of time has passed in order to really establish proper, proper decomposition. Do you know what I mean? Because it would have been within 3-4 hours. Not saying it's impossible, and it sets in right away, and they should be able to detect at some level. Yeah, they say they're talking about it can detect in water too. After corpses have been burned, all kinds of conditions. Yeah, I thought these points were interesting in that sense. Decomp would stay in the trunk, you're saying, one mission? Yeah, if it was, like, if it was exposed, what happens if you've got it wrapped up in a body bag, for example, like a heavy rubber or, you know, a casket. It depends what you're all wrapping it in and how far you're going. But you think if you've got it strapped to the back of an ATV, it would be important to spray that down. But no matter how well you spray it down, there's a good possibility that there's going to be trace amounts on that themselves stick around for months, sometimes years, depending on how, what would the term be? That's my only question about it, Cracker Jack. I thought they could detect it early on, AB. Well, it all depends on the time of death, doesn't it? It all depends on the time of death. And I mean, if it's here, let me pull this up. I got to go from memory here. I may as well just read it for crying out loud. The onset of decomposition after death depends on several factors, including environmental conditions like temperature, humidity, and exposure, the cause of death, and the condition of the body. Generally, decomposition begins within minutes of death, but visible and detectable signs take longer to develop. So a breakdown would be initial stages, minutes to hours. Biochemical processes start almost immediately after death. Within minutes, cells begin to break down due to the lack of oxygen, a process called autolysis. Enzymes in the body start digesting tissues, but this is not yet detectable by scent or sight. Within 1 to 3 hours, rigor mortis, muscle stiffening sets in, peaking around 12 to 24 hours post-mortem. So 12 hours from the time that we're suspecting something bad happened would be about the time the RCMP were showing up. Boy, he's no wonder Daniel's shitting. He's not leaving much time, is he? He is acting just ahead of the search party. But he had a head start. My favorite point to cling to is the fact that even after people clean up with bleach and all kinds of detergents and things, that decomp is still detectable. No, I'm not. I'm just we're suspect of it happening between the hours of 9 and 12. That's not saying that we're right. We don't expect to be right in everything. We're just thinking of the possibilities to a degree based off of the statements that family have made. Don't mistake that for believing anything that the family have said. You know how that goes. Any fluids could remain not visible but there. See, I don't think that they took much time. They didn't have a lot of time in that sense after it happened. Well, what's enough time? Those dogs need to sniff where Janie was putting that so-called pool that Thursday night. Yeah, that's right, Lily. That too. All around up in that dirt, that's all turned upside down. The whole joint needs to be sniffed. Every last square foot. Every last square foot. Janie, I'd love to be there watching Janie just complain. I told you guys you were welcome to come back. What can I make you assholes? Some cookies? Just taunting the shit out of the cops. I'm not confident. I'm not trying to say to anybody that they're going to even find anything, but something in me loves to hope. We all do. We're human, aren't we? I'm thinking that the cops have a big laundry list of places and things that they need to search and could search to pick up traces. That tells me that they're working on a case, that they're building a case. That makes me a little... It rejuvenates my hope in the situation. Good to see you, Jonna. Who else did I just see? Blue Ivy, good to see you. You are late, Mr. Hemi, but it's good that you're here. Hello, Lori. It's not so much a tip, but it's a part of the investigation, the process. The best tip is going to be the dog sniffing that 5-speed that we're suspicious of. In this circumstance, I think if they needed help, that they had help close by, and that was in the form of family. And in this circumstance, their family was willing to help them. That's a strong possibility. They're all in, sticking to the same sort of fabricated story, one that it doesn't make sense because they don't want to talk other than have you believe what it is that they say. There's no back and forth conversation about anything, explanations. It stinks to high heaven. And that's what Malaya knows. Malaya absolutely recognizes all of that, doesn't want anything to do with it. She'll just ignore it. The further away she stays from it, the better. You could relate to that feeling. Your dog also finds drowned people. You know what I got a laugh out of? Oh, I'll show you in a sec. Never mind. Let's continue. Press play. Hold on. I'm thinking positive thoughts, says Darlene. Yeah, absolutely. So am I. And that don't get too hopeful there. I don't think it was a tip. Just one tip isn't the one that brought him in. There's a whole laundry list of things that they could utilize these dogs for in the process of ruling it out or taking it to the next level. You have to do that. All avenues. But let's hope that there is some tips in there that we don't know about, and you would have to assume that there is. Something's got to be good within all of those calls. Think about all the people who have the ability to call in and just talk all about how much of a douchebag Daniel is. They spend all their time calling into the tip line, telling you to go search Cody's place. Oh, why don't you watch that New Brunswick border while you're at it? Grove Cat says those are specialized dogs, specialist dogs. They certainly not had them around to visit the province. These dogs are hardcore. They actually sleep with the cops in their beds at night. They're treated differently. They're married. These dogs are actually married. Like B-2 pilots. These dogs are trained with classified technology, meaning that they're more technologically advanced than you are at this time. Oh shit! They probably shoot laser beams out of their fucking eyes and LiDAR out its ass. Probably have a remote sensing polygraph examination. You don't even need to be hooked up to it. The dog already knows that you're lying because it's not that stupid. Osprey, I bet you they burnt the wood from the reno of Janie's trailer. You don't want to burn any of that shit. Maybe that's what made her crazy. All of the crazy glue from all of that cheap wood print. That's not actual wood. That's all the shit that they grind up and use like toxic chemicals to bind it back together, and then the stuff that you don't want to burn. Stuff that they construct buildings with. There's probably asbestos in it. Radiological waste. Oh, these dogs are going to be fantastic. But there'll be a great big list, and my favorite part of it is that they're not going to announce when and where that they're going to search. Oh, that's got to be my favorite. That's got to be my favorite. So you know that there's going to be some sleepless nights coming up in the next little bit. Not for Belinda, but for like Janie. She's going to be hypersensitive over every vehicle that comes and goes. Watching with her dog out the front. That's got to be like hell. It's like never getting to your destination living in that RV, isn't it? It's like you keep looking out the front view of that windshield, and it's like you got no place to go. It's like, are we here yet? Are we here yet? When are we going to arrive? Am I wrong? AB, merci. Certains divertissants, les anges sont rendus complete. Holy shit, you're making me think. I gotta translate, Esther. I'm supposed to be able to do that as a Canadian. It's just too late for that for me. Too late to be bilingual. I can't speak French after 7. Or I can't. I think I know what you mean. You're welcome, though. Certain deterrents. Les anges sont, which renders things complete. I think. Hey, Miss Phoebe. Bonjour. No, Janie been that way a long time, says Osprey, in your opinion. I could tell you stories from my adventures in Pictou County. Yeah, you're from Pictou County, Osprey? A lot of characters, I can just imagine. A lot of affordable real estate around there. That's what I've learned. I actually kind of like the place. It's not so bad. Not so bad. I'd have no problem moving out there. All kinds of places to boat and fish. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm in Canada. Seawood. And this booming downtown metropolis. This concrete jungle. No privacy around this place, bro. Osprey, I know you live in southwestern Ontario. I have a house on the Fundy Coast. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be nice. Stop rubbing it in. Don't tell Durwood's probably watching. He'll probably be breaking into it, sleeping on your couch. You're late, Miss V. Did anyone say yet what if... see if he jumps to an area a little easier? Don't even need the dogs, really? I don't know where you're going with that. The beaches are nice too. Oh, yeah, no doubt. There's all kinds of beaches in Nova Scotia, bro. The problem is the water's fucking cold. It's the Atlantic. It's the Bay of Fundy. Shit. You didn't tell me it was that cold. And it's the ocean, by the way. That's scary shit. You would never catch me just swimming in the ocean like that. I've fucking seen those movies. You know how freaked out I was in Cuba? Something touched my toe, dude. I freaked the fuck out. I was like 13 or 14. Had to go out and I hated it. I just like sand on the bottom when I go out. Just a nice sandbar. Just perfect. I'm thinking the last thing I need, just my luck. Something's going to come for me. And wouldn't you know it, something grabbed my fucking toe. I tripped out. Never again the rest of that trip would I ever go near that water. That was an experience and a half. I wasn't risking it. That's a risk assessment for you, bro. Yeah, I much prefer the Great Lakes. At least I can, it's scary enough because your imagination takes over. You don't know what the fuck is in there. Maybe a big sturgeon will come up and nibble on your toes. That would trip me out. I don't like stuff playing with my toes under the water. But I got over it because the next thing, I finally managed my way up to go snorkeling. It's not like I'm terrified or scared of it. It's just that I know my limits. There's no possible way. Like, things can get out of my control real quick in the ocean. And I'm not talking about me swimming. I got no problem with me swimming to get the fuck out of somewhere. I'm talking about the animals that lurk beneath. That just petrifies me. I've seen what happens. But I finally managed to go snorkeling and scuba diving. The next year, so I got over it a little bit. Then I got attacked by sea lice. Can you believe that? Sea lice. I couldn't believe it. Half of my body went like, it looked like I contracted something. I turned into this red and white blotchy thing. It went right away with calamine lotion though when I got back on board, but it fucking hurt. It hurt like hell. It was like, it's very like as many needles as you can imagine all at once pricking you on one half of my body. I didn't know what the hell was going on. See, I told you something was going to get me and something did. Except these things, sea lice are microscopic. You can't exactly see them come for you when you're in the water. They had to tell me what it was when I was on board. So, it looks like sea lice, probably. I'm like, oh, fuck. Thanks for telling me about those. Holy shit, I was worried about the sharks. And, of course, they're diving up by these reefs. And we dived by this scuttled German freighter off Aruba. But these great big 15, 20-foot nurse sharks at the bottom, just reminding you that, you're human. Not like those things are going to come out of your way and eat you. They're pretty much docile. You could bop them right in the nose, which is probably what you should do, but I don't even need to get that close to sharks. I don't care. I'm good. And they're watching. You like sandbars with the warm pools of water in between, safe from sharks? Oh, yeah. Except for some of the young bucks. Oh, yeah, there's shark and pick, too. I love fishing for sharks. That's different. Going out and do some trolling. I've caught tuna and dolphin. I could do that every day, I tell you. Yeah, the Great Lakes are getting too warm for you, Osprey. Yeah, man, I grew up on the shores of Lake Huron, like right on the beach. It's really changed. It's always changing, though, which is something I learned the older I got. Take that for granted. Anyway, let's continue. I don't want to bore you to death. Hold on. So let's continue this conversation, my friends. I got a little sidetracked. Sounding like Sunny. You guys complain when Sunny talks about herself over there. I'm like Sunny over here, talking all about my adventures. The Great Lakes are getting too warm. You're right. Where did I leave off? I like the fact that the RCMP are kind of taunting him. Is that what you want me to say? Yeah, I guess they would be to a person who's trying to get away with something. They're reminding him that the long arm of the law isn't that far away. Yeah, I kind of agree, Osprey. It's just it's a far drive way down here in southern Ontario up to Superior. But it is way better for everything, except you've got to watch how polluted the pulp and paper mills made the water up there. And it's a real issue. And the more that you try to find it, the more that you realize how big of a problem it is, even right now. Which isn't very... Fuck, I thought about retiring there and ignoring the rest of the world for the rest of my life. Just live off the land. And then I'm thinking, fuck, I might last like 10 years because I'll develop Minamata disease from all the lead, the mercury in the water. At any one place at any one time, because the watersheds are all connected. But goddamn, it looks good from above. I used to have land way up the other side of Cochrane, right beside the it's a gold mine, Fox Gold Mine, outside of Cochrane, just outside of Matheson, a little town called Matheson. Yeah, Timmins area. Well, an hour away from Timmins, but close in that neck of the woods.
Rubber dogs in this late, it's for one reason is because they are most effective when they're looking for decomposition. Two, where are they looking for decomposition and why? What information do they have that takes them to that particular position?
Police won't share details on dates, times, or the locations of the upcoming searches. In a statement to Global News, an RCMP spokesperson said there is nothing definitive to support the children are dead, but previous searches have not yielded any results. RCMP say, quote, deploying the human remains detection teams at this point aligns with the investigative efforts to date. All scenarios are being considered. It's critical for investigators to remain open to all possibilities to ensure our investigation is fully comprehensive.
Cindy Byers, the RCMP Nova Scotia Strategic Communications. Do you love these titles? I love these updated titles. When did all of these updating of the titles happen, I wonder? I'm not even hating on it. I think it's kind of somewhat entertaining. It really makes it really something to behold in that sense. But yet simple and direct. It's fabulous. So this is...
Speaking to reporters on Friday,
Easy there, Tyler. Hold on. Get back there. Deploying the human remains detection teams at this point aligns with the investigative efforts to date. Good, cool. That's true. All scenarios are being considered. That's probably my favorite part. That right there brings me hope that they're not fucking this up. You need to remind yourselves that it's critical for investigators, including yourselves, to remain open to all possibilities to ensure our investigation is fully comprehensive. Ooh, that is a strategic communication, Cindy. Wow. That's a bit of a warning for Daniel, I'd say. Hopefully they're open to going and sniffing the hell out of that blue Subaru.
investigation is fully comprehensive. Speaking to reporters on Friday, RCMP say these cadaver dogs can find decomposing bodies several feet in the ground, along with operating within water and with burnt remains.
We know it's going to take time. We wish it'd be faster, but we have to be patient.
The two children were first reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station in Pictou County on May 2nd, prompting a large-scale search effort involving hundreds of volunteers. Police say more than 80 interviews, 800 tips, and thousands of video have been compiled throughout the investigation, along with polygraph tests and forensic examinations on items discovered in the search. This staff sergeant says the cadaver dog search will continue until every angle has been explored.
There's no real...
That right here, I had to make mention. I need to correct myself because the way that they're making it sound that these dogs are going to be made available whenever they need. They're not under like a brief period of time, or they're going to use the dogs when the time arises, when the need is. So it must be internal. They must, you know what I mean? It's not like it's okay, we have this list to go through and we're going to bring them in just to rule it out, to get it out of the way just in the bush, to rule out the particular narrative, or that they just wandered away into the bush and they're have just died somewhere and dropped. Which, by the way, I started to understand after I finished my do you remember my last stream? Cindy, I believe, I think her name was Cindy, I can't remember who it was off the top of my mind, in my chat, talking about how she suspected that there's a possibility, how do we know that Daniel or Janie and them just didn't drive the kids away and abandon them at a certain place and just come back and report them missing. And I thought, when I first read it, I thought, oh, wow, that's kind of, no, that can't be right. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what? That's not such a bad, statement in that sense, an observation from a person who's just getting to know things, and one that I haven't heard been brought up before. But, I juggled the plausibility of it, and I thought, she's kind of right in saying that. We don't know, but through their statements, they haven't kind of directed us to believe that yet. And we can't allow ourselves to think that we know. You have to always well know about what it is that you know and you don't know. And I took exception because you don't see a lot of rumors in that sense, but I'm not there in these Facebook groups watching it. I could just imagine if you're to develop an opinion based upon the conversations that happen in the comments section underneath any one post at any one time, what did you think that you were going to get out of these groups to begin with, other than to obfuscate the scenario? It's effective. We see it time and time again. It's the whole reason to propagandize a group of people into believing one thing over another. Hillary Green, they can detect 15 feet down. I wonder what dogs like that like to eat as a snack. Should send them some water. Keep them out there longer. Yeah, Belinda's happy about it, so I'm happy about it. That makes me feel better. Make sure you take into it. Make sure you get those dogs to sniff Darren. Darren probably hasn't changed his jeans. Probably still wearing the same damn clothes. Wonder how he fits into all of this. Wonder why he's so keen to help. Do you think it's because him and Janie have some sort of romantic relationship in the background? I can see where that's probably possible in all of this. Not to distract away from other things. But, you know, it's Saturday. We've got to flex a little bit. What are you saying, Ziggy? Ziggy, is that really a picture of prayer gardens? Is that really a picture of prayer gardens with the big ass ears that I saw the other day? You finally unmasked her. It ends up being the same person that was unmasked earlier on. So this time is different. I took a screenshot nonetheless because it was a rare one that I hadn't seen before. Sissy looks hilarious. Not that looking, not that it's fun to make look at somebody fun that looks funny. It's not. That's not the point. But when you're trying to hide your identity, when you hide your identity for so long, and it's like it puts a desire to have you come out and have a reveal, and for people to recognize what it is you are, what you look like, or who you are. You put a face to the voice. That's why I was laughing. She made fun of others' looks, so it's only fair. Yeah, she's up to that again. She's good at that, which makes her even that much more funny to listen to. It's a nice circus in that Summer Wells case, and she's, you know, right in the mix of it. What did Candace do recently that people are talking about? I've noticed a couple weird videos pop up, really obscure allegations against her in regards to something that she's just done. Like, even white boys going live having to defend her actions, which I thought kind of weird and bizarre. Out of there now. What's going on, Wolfie? Good day, Brenda. Then I thought that maybe something was done before they returned home. Maybe the children didn't make it home at all. Yeah, many people bring that up, and they're still right. We only have so much information. People out here have identified the areas in which we don't know, to keep it open for your, you know, when you're thinking things up. We don't have any guarantees. We're only assuming that they made it back. You know, there's so many indicators that, you know, think of everything that we've learned about the things that they didn't do that particular night that was different than their normal routine. Like changing the kids, Jack's wearing pull-up. There's no mention ever of you know, spending time with the kids to get them cleaned up, to get them in bed, to have dinner together, you know, spending any time. It's all, you know, they were traveling, they were in town, they got home, and then they went right to bed, and that's it. Like, that's real avoidance right there. But there's no mention, you know, then they present that they just went to bed with the clothes that they had on the day before. Well, you identified that, but you still couldn't get right what it is that they were wearing. You couldn't remember. You couldn't remember the last time you changed them. None of it. That stands out. All of the little places where she's avoiding stands out. It's not anyone, it's the totality of them. Even in her statements, Malaya was bad for it. Selective memory stands out in the witness. Well, hold on, I got someone behind me. She's got a coffee that she wants. She wants my coffee. I'm not done with it yet, though. Here, sweetie. I'll put it here. You're welcome. There we go. I'm glad we can come to that compromise. I drank it all and put her there, the empty cup. Oh, I'm so mean. Hey, Julia. Thanks for keeping their story alive. No need to thank me. I mean, this is a legitimate story that people are genuinely interested in all the time until it's solved, because this situation is blatantly obvious and easy to solve for the layman's. Let's get on with things. And I think that that's happening now. Well, we're hoping, aren't we? That's why we're all here. You know, people get trained to think the things that are presented to them in the mainstream media are what we should be interested in at any one time. That's part of the conditioning you need to break away from. You need to break out of the matrix. There's all kinds of interesting things to talk about this scenario that aren't even, that they don't want to mention in the media at this point in time. Why? Because from the media's standpoint, that's why they keep telling everybody. It's almost like a little excuse. It's worth them ignoring little things like this or presenting it in a certain way to make them less liable in that sense. Oh, they're so unbiased and want to be perceived a certain way. Have a product. They're not going to cast any suspicion on any one person. They're going to leave it open. You need to build a rapport in order to get more information out. All of that, it goes unsaid in that circumstance, right? That goes without saying. But yet we need to remind ourselves of these things. And the rhetoric is just that. Yeah, there are crazy people out there who spread all kinds of misinformation in that sense. You could go up there. There is a post up there with somebody, claiming that, the case was solved and they found the bodies. And it's just such inconsiderate misinformation, and it's completely unnecessary. But people are engaged in it. It's so distracting, isn't it? Oh yeah, I'm such a good dad. I could be better, Ziggy. I could be a lot more wealthier. The markets need to pump, baby. One mission says, when somebody is on the rugs, could it be they see themselves doing something but believing they didn't think it was thinking it was a dream? Well, why don't you be our guinea pig? One mission. Why don't we do some tests on you, some MK Ultra experiments? No. You might certainly bring that up. And you might have to pay out for some specialized forensic psychologist, or maybe some a psychiatrist. You'd have to really pay out the nose for a psychiatrist. Somewhere will probably have some sort of statement for you. No drugs for you, one mission. No. No, it's not. That's not how it goes. That might be your defense in a trial. I could see where that would be a defense of somebody wanting people to think that way, but that would just be an unrealistic way to discuss the effects physiologically on the human body, which is well studied, Yeah, Lori Lynn, did you? Oh, there you go, one mission. There's Lori Lynn. Well, you guys get together and talk all about it. I know that was somebody's defense. That's been somebody's defense a couple times. Like even in that that girl in Milwaukee that cut that guy up into pieces, having sex. That was kind of her way, her defense. She was kind of going that way. And I think there is, there's been some historical ones, some famous ones with sleepwalking and things like that. Oh, I thought I was dreaming. You'd have to be right on the money in that interview, I tell you. You'd have to be right on the money in the interview. Yeah, Taylor, Shabusiness. Yeah, that's right, Frosty. Yeah, I think I've seen that too, Sandra. A man committed sleepwalking murder in that sense. But I don't think it's going to be, quite that common or applicable in this circumstance. Unless you're thinking about a defense already for for Daniel. So what happens if they detect? So you think that they took samples while they were there early on? They probably have something up their sleeve, don't they? There's probably something that we're not thinking of at this moment in time that they have up their sleeve. They're going to get these dogs in. It's going to, hopefully, we don't even want to say that word, hopefully, but we'll see what happens.
Real timeline to follow until you extinguish all possibilities.
Mitchell Bailey, Global News, Halifax.
Okay, guys, this is just a...
Yeah, all right. Hold on, where was that other... I got so sidetracked on this Logan Ann McKenzie nonsense. I wanted to point out Belinda Gray's right here. So I'll just read it to you. You don't have to strain your eyes. Belinda Gray, she's an all-star contributor, by the way. Congratulations, madam. Don't go around telling everybody about this. Yesterday at 10:28, there's 105 comments. Oh, including one of my own. Look at that. The police have said Jack and Lily wandered off in their first briefing. Did they ever wander off before or ever left the property before? She's asking. What would lead the police to believe that? Why are they still stating that? And she brings up an interesting point in that they're going and portraying to the family. You have to think what was portrayed to them, what that was presented to them at the time. So that's a great question by Belinda. And that what makes them believe that the kids walked off the property? Not that you expect the RCMP to even give you a straight answer to that question at this point in time. But I think that she brings up a very important point earlier on that would kind of show people the direction of the investigation or where their heads were at that time. Not that they would be so outward and say anything else at that, maybe that there's, it just could be a thing. It just could be what they had to say in front of the camera that day. Here's the situation. It is believed, they could be saying it's believed that the kids wandered away. Did he misspeak in front of that camera? We should go back and take a look at some point in time. But the question's still valid, right? The police said that. The police said that, according to Belinda. I trust the question. Look at this fucking bitch right here. Dude. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? First of all, Belinda Gray says, moderators, please do not hide or hold my comments. You have no reason to block them. People are popping off to Belinda up there. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? Let's see this. There we go. Let's pop this up. It's almost like somebody just took that one away as I was looking at it. Pop up again. I don't want the most relevant. Where did I see that? Fucking spam. I think that was probably just deleted. Oh no, here it is. The last one. Renee Mack. Please tell me why everyone is being so nice to this woman when she hasn't seen these kids in years. Maybe start looking at her family instead of bashing the other one. I see nobody from her side searching for the children when boots were on the ground. So that sounds like a family member. Can you believe this Renee Mack biatch? Can you believe that? There are truly some idiotic people out there that are engaged in all of this that can't wait to be associated. Like, how healthy are they? How keen are you to find Jack and Lily? How concerned are you about the child welfare? Absolutely, she was Lily. Absolutely. Tells you that they're busy in the background. How dare you? How dare you? I'm going to Ninchi. Fucking
It's a
bitch.
good idea, though. You would catch whoever turns in your driveway, but I don't know if you'd have to pay for damages or not because it's on your property, and they're not supposed to be in your driveway. If you get, next time I get to town, I'm going to get some signs, no trespassing signs, and no turning private drive. So when they're posted, people...
Yeah, see, I don't think that's from Malaya's side. That's from the Martel side in that sense. Like, who else would irrationally want to ice out Belinda and remind her that she hasn't been around for the 2 years? Like, Danielle has everything to do with that. Yeah, well, if she is a strong woman and patient, and she's wise. It's not too difficult to seem smarter when you have to deal with these lot.
People will have to stop turning in my driveway, but I was told when I ordered Haley and Shelby, I believe it's Shelby, off of my property, they were allowed to come within 15 feet in my driveway.
So you know exactly why she had to kick them off her property, because you weren't having them. This is my favorite part about the entire day. This is really revealing, because we overlooked it in the beginning. I don't know about you, but I know I probably did. We overlooked the significance, although it was mentioned right away. It was one of the first things that was mentioned, this confrontation in the driveway that they want to talk around. Has everything to do with Daniel. He's so sensitive over somebody else blaming him for all of this. Like, he's volunteering all of this information to a fault. Under the guise, he wants you to believe that he's just being transparent about everything. Therefore, how could he possibly have anything to do with them going missing? That's flawed logic. You know.
So yeah, it could be damage to other vehicles. Yeah. Oh, and when this news release that I put out.
My question is, will the dogs detect decomposition on Janie's breath? Answer in the comments below.
It's on CBC. I think it's nationwide. I'm not sure. I know it's CBC. When people were driving by here, they were slowing right down, and because they seen the van, they parked it on the side of the road. So after this here is broadcasted, I don't know when. She doesn't know when she'll do it, but apparently mine and Darren's interview are supposed to be one right after the other. I don't know when it'll be on. She's gonna get in contact with me and to see if there's anything else that she wants to ask me, so I have no idea. But yeah, once this here goes out, all the news people that I've told to get off my property before will be all back again. So I'm just going to have a good time telling them to get all off my property.
Oh my God. You can't ignore that, and that doesn't look very good when you're trying to seem so cooperative in a situation. Your priority is to kick everybody off of your property, like it was with anybody, coming close. If you've got questions, get the hell away. Anybody want to question my narrative, you better get the hell away, including Haley, which probably should kind of apologize a little bit for. The internet's probably been overly hard on Haley in this sense, but I think that in hindsight, she's brought forth an interesting twist and an inconvenience to Daniel's story in a time that Jack and Lily needed it most. I think Haley was absolutely telling the truth about what the confrontation was about, and the fact that they could identify not only him using substances, but him actively on those substances and its association and relevance to what happened to Jack and Lily. They were absolutely right, because why? It always turns out like that in a scenario like this. How could it not be related in a contributing factor to the scenario that everybody's in that current moment? It's not like you're dealing with the same rational situation where parents have been truly victimized in the circumstance. It looks completely different. They're trying to muddy for you the fact that they want you to believe that he's out there searching aimlessly with no place to go, which is completely irrational when you're trying to locate somebody quickly. It goes from it goes to very suspicious really quick, and there's no turning back. Grove Cat says, I hope the RCMP will get officers there to stop Janie from interrupting the dog search. She's going to be so put off by that. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I hope it happens at about 3 a.m. Oh, that's a normal time for Janie to be up. What if she's going to be up all night with Daniel? You guys tweaking out in the trailer. Well, maybe now there's less room, so that old dirty ass RV probably has nothing to do with it. But if there was decomp on the tires, it could transfer to that gravel. It could keep in the gravel in the driveway, which would be presumably in the clothes which were washed in either the washer. They need to search Patty's washing machine. Maybe that's where the blank will become in a little bit more significant. Do you think that there could be the potential of it having decomp on it? Wouldn't that be something? Something that maybe we didn't see coming, but why would we? We can only hope, but shouldn't plant that thought too early. Hopefully they've got something in the background that we don't know of. His drug buddies, Shawinigan Lake, his drug buddies would have brought the 5 to a RE. She'll probably want another search warrant. Well, it's probably already approved ahead of time. Oh, by the way, she's actually asked them to come back and search with these dogs just before, that's coming. You know that they have to get that out there. Oh, yeah, we welcomed them in. In fact, we wrote them a letter, and here's some Christmas cards. We sent them all Christmas cards. Come back anytime. Hopefully, something comes of it very soon. Osprey, all of that family needs to be off the property too and not allowed to search, in your opinion? They weren't searching to begin with, so that's not a big deal, Osprey. It depends what you mean by search here. That term has many different meanings to the people that are involved in this case, I believe. Yeah, but even when you know, okay, even when you know and suspect or suspicious of the person, you can't prevent them and stop them from doing things in the moment. If the guy wants to lead the search party, well, by all means, lead. But I don't know about right now, Osprey. I think it would be a bad idea currently. I'm just concerned that they've done a good enough job cleaning up. But when does a tweaker ever do a good job completing a task? That's the only thing that we have working for the side of justice in all of this. Because as a tweaker, there's a very low probability of them not making a mistake in all of this. We just have to find it. You can be sure of that. There's a reason that there's a mattress. That mattress, well, it's not there anymore. They should take it to the dump in the landfill. See where they took all of that trash that was in their yard that they cleaned up. Wherever you took all of that needs to be focused on. Good to see you, Mike. That whole pipeline area is a crime scene, in your opinion? That is a strong possibility, because thinking about it, although they did have all of that time from the time frame of 9 p.m. to midnight on the 1st, they had a lot of time to prepare, but there was a lot of movement and a lot of avoiding of the scene in that time, which is the time which is, it's a strong possibility that they transferred what would otherwise be picked up now as decomp. So it could be really leads you right to the spot. That would be oversimplifying it, but it can't be that far away. And somewhere between the dump site, or I should come up with a better term for it. I'm sorry. Their site that they disposed of the corpses, or disposed of the suspected, alleged corpses, I guess. I don't know how we want to say that. From Garlock Road, their trailer, to wherever they disposed of the bodies in this circumstance. There's got to be some sort of decomposition in that process, and it has to come way of that vehicle, clothes, sniff everybody's laundry drains, everybody's toilet. The good news is that they were all around and everybody was mixing and mingling that day, so things can transfer quite easily. There was a lot of people involved, so a higher possibility of there being transfer, even if they're trying to cover up just the most, things that aren't obvious, like Janie out there raking things over. Those tires could have had decomp all over it. Like Daniel's wet, saturated clothes could have transferred decomposition onto the bike, and even spraying the bike down and cleaning it, there's still going to be something. You got to drill out a couple of rivets. You got to really take off some side panels there to try to pull from that. Yeah, Mike, the ATV definitely needs to be examined. Absolutely. No, you're not interrupting at all. I'm just shit talking. I'm just shit talking tonight. Magdalena, dogs aren't just looking for a body, but the specific chemical compounds released during decomposition. Yeah, exactly. These odor molecules can remain in soil, water, and on the surfaces long after the body has been moved. Oh yeah, this is going to be a nightmare. A nightmare if you're trying to get away with double murder. This would be a high stress moment. Janie should probably just start crying. So she's just straight up crying. Maybe her and Darren should get away for the weekend. So, Mike, you think this 5-speed Subaru, this Fast and the Furious car of Justin's, is the same car? It's such a strong possibility because everything matches up, doesn't it? And the fact that it is in dire need of repair, and that's why it's not on the road and hasn't been since 2021. They've been trying to sell it and unsuccessful. Fuck, that thing would be noisy if it needed new rear bearings. Or even one. You can still drive it. Just needs a new bearing. The tire doesn't spin. It'll be a little hot. You can drive in an emergency. No license, Miss V? I don't know. We don't even know that yet. Anybody just run his license? We need a cop out there just to run his license. You should be able to do that for free, I think. I'm not sure if he's got it suspended. There's talk about that, but I'm not sure. Objects that have been in contact with a decomposing body for even a short period of time can retain the scent for a significant time. Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's like stink, right? You can't get that shit off. And the fact that they're looking for it, the fact that they're specifically looking for it, something tells me they're going to find something. Is it wrong to hope that they do in this circumstance? For the sake of Jack and Lily and justice and some closure, because I can't sleep at night knowing these sons of bitches made these 2 children disappear and are getting away with murder, has to be driving the detectives a little bit nutty, but they're probably ahead of the game. Can only hope. I do trust that they care to do the right thing in this circumstance. I can't imagine any detective not being, emotionally attached to these circumstances, especially when it comes to children. And even if that cop's a pure psychopath, the other cops can't be. They all can't be that bad, right? Yeah, I put my faith in the individual, but it gets lost within the hierarchy of these faceless federal institutions. That's just the nature of the beast. They get that. Huge avoidance, not linguistic, but still avoidance. Right. It's a different kind of avoidance. It's not linguistic avoidance. It's the actual physical avoidance. That's what they were doing down at the pipeline. Important to make mention in statement analysis. Yeah. This is the car right here. Mike DeMann. Actually, a nice little piece of shit. You get those dogs sniffing all the tires, all up in and around there. This is where the sweaters probably come into play. Is that a bit of a red herring from the suspect? Or do you think that sweaters were possibly used in all of this? I guess that would be only speculating, yes or no, of course. We only know so much. But the fact that Daniel brought it up early on tells me, looking back on it, that he was considering the risk-reward factor back then. And I'm just using that as a comparison, but he was throwing things out there knowing full well that people are going to pick up on it. This is my brother's car, says Daniel. This is from 2021, by the way. August 22nd, 2021. Daniel Martel. Beautiful. It's actually a nice little car. In its day. God knows when that picture was actually taken. You trying to catfish this piece of shit car onto somebody now? Needs a little work. But it says, my brother has a 2009 Subaru Impreza. I like those cars. Those are nice. With 222,520 kilometers, mostly highway driving. Car was a lease before it was bought, so he's a second owner. Oh, the third owner. Fourth if it's actually his and not his brother's. Selling as is. Where is? What does that mean? That you got to come and get it and do what you can to get it the hell up on out of there. Here, I just want $2,700. You can take this piece of shit off my hand. You'd be doing me a favor, is what that really is saying. Selling as is, where is. Inspected until end of August. Not that that's going to matter much because, hold on. Inspected until the end of August this year. For it to pass again, it will need the rockers done on both sides. An engine tear down here or what? And the exhaust will need some work. Well, thank God you know a mechanic down there. Isn't Kent related to those mechanics? Kent's a mechanic, isn't he? He likes to claim he is. It's probably stolen valor, mechanic valor. Let me see. It will need rockers done on both sides, and exhaust will need some work, and it will need back shocks. What the hell was going on back there? Probably that's how big the subwoofer was, and wheel bearings in the back, both sides. Shit, what the hell was going on back there? I wonder. The car had the head gasket kit. What? The head gasket kit? What sort of kit? What would you just put on red head gaskets? Who the fuck cares about a head gasket, bro? Including the timing kit and a clutch kit. A head gasket kit. Yeah, I took the head gaskets. I took the head gasket cover off and I put the chrome ones on, or maybe it was a low profile one. Is that what it is? Is it just bad roads in the area, in the trail? Is it? It's still a cool little car. Somebody in the right hands, Kent, this would be a perfect car for you. You should have bought this. Too bad now it's probably going to have to be confiscated and driven into evidence. The car had a head gasket kit, including the timing kit and a clutch kit all put in it, which tells you right there that it's a stick. Approximately 16,000 kilometers ago. For features, it has the sunroof, heated seats. Those get annoying after a while, don't they? They're nice, though, sometimes. Heated front windshield. Well, like your defrost. Tinted windows. And the WRX Legacy body style skirtings. That's what really tops it off. That's what really tops this off. It's actually not... the new 2024, 2025 WXRX Imprezas are expensive AF, but they're so fucking nice. I think they have like 276 horses, all-wheel drive. Oh, there's a sexy machine. Those are nice cars. Even if you buy one 3 or 4 years old, they're still nice cars. Now, these guys are going back to 2008. Like, this car is old, but 225,000 isn't that many kilometers if you take care of your car, is it? No issues with rust. Not like my truck. My truck's starting to get some issues with rust. So the point is this car almost matches what we would otherwise recognize as the neighbors' report about hearing that car, that 5-speed, come and go and leave that house 6 times in those 5 hours between midnight and 5 a.m. on May 2nd, the day that Jack and Lily Sullivan were reported missing. At a time where Daniel has shown sensitivities, because he wants you to believe that they were all in bed sleeping like tweakers do at that time of night. And he checked on the kids once at midnight by opening the door, shutting the door. Didn't actually really check on them. That came out afterwards. That was an adaptation, in my opinion. But of course, that's our perspective. I'm not the responding officer. Don't need to have that especially, right? I'm just recalling. Lori Green, if Justin had a dog, wouldn't that just be the thing? All that hair all over the place. Wouldn't that be something? Make sure you get that dog over at Earl's house too, sniff all up and down that place. That's going to take a while. There's a lot of shit in that one place. You know, there's a lot of shit to search. But it's okay. We can take our time. So says the police. That's fine. Thank God. See, now we're thanking the police. Finally, you guys are starting to make a little sense up in there. Now it's a good time to be the cop. Put on all the cool gear. Get up in one of those really expensive SUVs. Yeah, this is what we train for, boys. Who would have the better job in Nova Scotia? Wouldn't you love to get that call at SWAT to have to go in and take down Daniel Martel? Well, that's it, Sarge. We've got all we know. Send out the APB. We're going to call in SWAT. We're going to take him out right from Garlock Road. How do you think that's going to go? They'll come in during the night like a bunch of Nazis, drag him out of there, package him up. They'll have it done pretty quick. They work fast. He won't even know what hit him. What is he going to put a wrench in the fucking door? Maybe they'll slide that sliding glass door open and come in through the back door. You'll never hear them. The SWAT will take you down right in the hallway. As you're sitting there worshipping Satan, like we know that you do. Sitting up there, probably listening to Motley Crue. Yeah, Grove Cat. Oh, shit.
Because I already told it to one news person. I'm not going to go and tell it to everybody else again, because they'll share it anyway. So, and it'll get all out there anyway. So, no, just speaking to one person, telling them is going to get it out there. No, I don't want to put chains across my driveway. I'm too lazy to get in and out to unlock them. And besides, they can come across my lawn if they want to anyways. Someone suggested that I take an old rubber tire and put tacks in it, put it at the end of my driveway. But no one...
These cops have to talk in the coffee room, right? They've got to talk amongst themselves. There has to be a couple of those moments where they had to have turned to one another and say, like sometimes when you're in it, maybe you don't recognize that you're being played. But it's hard to believe that all of these investigators would have been fooled at any one moment in time by these people. It wouldn't be scrutinizing them, while they're processing information. Although I'm not dismissing incompetence, but I'm just saying in this circumstance. I don't care about any other circumstance. I care about this one with Jack and Lily. That's what's most important.
Me, how stupid I am if I took a vehicle out.
In order to find out what happened to Jack and Lily Sullivan, you have to understand the circumstances surrounding the environment in which they lived and the circumstances leading up to their disappearance. None of which, well, they've all shown linguistic sensitivities to when questioned. And that should tell you everything. It's not very hard to see that these people are withholding information. It's been that inconsistent. And the expectations are almost the entitlement that they show and the confidence that they've developed since the beginning in their script, which shows you it's suspect when they have to recite it and demand that you either believe it or that's it. The fact that they continue to put blames and they put and shake blame so easily onto Jack and Lily for volunteering to walk out that door is a desperate attempt for them to admit to being somewhat neglectful. And then when the heat gets turned up, they all throw the shade on Malaya to the point where it prioritizes their own innocence at any one time when nobody's even bringing it up. Yeah, exposing CPS failure resulting in the disappearance of children may not be in everyone's best interest. Well, nobody ever expects for the worst thing to happen, do they? Until it happens in that sense.
I'd be buying brand new tires all the time because I would be that stupid enough to forget them. And I can't do that neither because anyone that comes in my driveway, like my brother or my sister-in-law and everything, would all have flat tires. And believe me, I can't afford to buy all new tires for everybody's vehicle. So
this was the stupidest shit to listen to, by the way. Talking about this nonsense, this extraneous information. It's tough, but we've come to develop like some sort of fondness for Janie and her anger. It's bizarre. It's like developing a taste for scotch, I think, or cigars. It's an acquired taste. But in that sense, she's reliable in that she can't control her emotions. She's so adamant and set in her own psychological ways, especially when it comes to what was happening around that house, that you can see what was projected onto the children and Malaya in that sense. The dogs won't take sides or point fingers, Jonah. Well, maybe these ones can. These are trained. Never say never. Lori Green saying Kent is a sock puppet. This Kent guy. Oh, man. There's always one. I don't know. Kent. It's very. What would you call him? He's controversial. He's very controversial. Ooh. Magdalena, anyone remember, didn't Daniel say at the beginning he used Malaya's card to search for Jack and Lily? If yes, nice way to frame her. Move bodies in her car. Put that on the list, Magdalena. Put that one on the list for the dogs to smell. You guys are going to be so fucked. Well, Daniel won't. He's got to remind you that he was requesting cadaver dogs a long time ago. Yeah, let's hurry up and get it out of the way before they start really decomposing. I think I've got it good enough. You've got to mislead them just enough. He's that guy. Daniel is that guy. That's what he's proven to us. Fucking dirty player, man. Mike Demand, do you ever watch what's the channel called? Oh, hold on.
I just kind of laughed at that idea because just because of what I told you. But it's not going to stop people. If you put up signs, if you put up this and you put up that, it's not going to stop.
Mike, do you ever watch, who is that Navy SEAL? Who is that Navy SEAL who calls out all the stolen valor here on YouTube? What's his name? He has extremesealadventures.com. Oh, what's his name? You guys know. Hold on. You want to talk about having fun with statement analysis and listen to the level of bullshit that liars come with and get a good ear for it. You've got to listen to Don Shipley, that's his name, excuse me, Don Shipley. Search Don Shipley, Navy SEAL, on YouTube. Mike, if you haven't seen it before, and have a listen to a few of his videos where he calls these dudes out. It's a great exercise away from Jack and Lily, and it's also funny AF. It's also funny as fuck, and it's a nice... It's like after having a workout, it's like getting on the exercise bike for your brain. It almost makes it worthwhile going back to the stuff that you were, analyzing before. But what makes it so valuable is that he captures him calling out and exposing these phony SEALs who are stealing valor legitimately. And there's a certain satisfaction in the way that he does it. And the statements and the stories that these individuals come up with, fantastic. Anyway.
Stop people from driving by, and taking pictures, or just sitting at the end, sitting on the side of the road. Like, as I said, it's a public road. You can't stop people from sitting in their car, sitting on the side of the road. You can't stop people from walking by your house 10 or 20 times. It's a public road. As I said, the only way I can stop people from doing anything is if they come on my property. I think someone in here asked me if I live on a dirt road. No, I live on the pavement on the 289. It's a main road that goes from the highway, from the main highway, or the old highway, I should say, the old highway, and it goes through Pleasant Valley, through Middle River, through Lyric, and goes all the way out through Musquodoboit, through Middle Musquodoboit, through Upper Musquodoboit, or Stewiacke, all the way out through, it goes all the way, it brings you out to Brookfield. So it's a main drag from going from the old...
And another thing why it was worth mentioning, Mike, is the fact that there's very little things that are actually genuine, true call-outs and that are legit on the internet today. This is one of them. There's no bullshit here, and there's a satisfaction in all of that.
Highway through to Brookfield, and this road is traveled truckers travel it when the season's open. They travel back and forth here. And since this all started, I when my dog hears something, I let my dog out first before I go out. So if there's anything out there or anybody out there, they know I have a dog. So.
Wouldn't it be interesting if somehow the dog's hair, kept some sort of decomp in the dog? You know how dogs are always attracted to going and rolling? You ever had a dog like that? I had this husky that used to just love to kill and roll in this whatever and get their scent. They have their scent glands all over their bodies and their hair, and they roll around in it. That's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. These dogs. Man, dogs are crazy when you think about it, isn't it? So that dog would have transferred something everywhere, one would think, possibly. It would be a factor that would have been unable for Daniel to control in the moment, in that sense. So it would make his cleanup otherwise less effective. And we know these tweakers are going to, somewhere along the lines, from A to B, which would be from his house to wherever site they dispose from, somewhere along those lines, he's made a mistake somewhere. We just have to find it. And one would think if he disposed of clothes, items, that somewhere it would be for either one of two reasons. It would be because it was drug related, possibly, or it had something to do with decomposition in the children and death, in my opinion. There's not really any nicer way to say that. Tammy Duvokes, good to see you. They are going to rug test Tucker's hair for math. Tucker Carlson? What are you saying? Tucker who? What are you talking about? They're propagandizing him, are they? Maybe he did take it. He hasn't cut his hair since 2000. He's already... let's not get sidetracked on Tucker. You talking about Tucker Carlson in here? Or your dog's name is Tucker? Or the dog's name is Tucker? Sorry, okay. Sidetracking myself. Thank you. Straighten me out. Janie's dog's name's Tucker, is it? The dog's hair for exposure. They're going to test the dog's hair for exposure to chemicals and compounds associated with making what would otherwise be the mathematics. Mike's talking about many believe is also her projecting what she wants people to believe on unnamed sources. Right. Good point. Good to see you, Lady Lolo. Your dogs rub their bodies in their food. I find that odd. Marking their territory, right? It's part of marking their territory amongst their own. Especially when they're happy. Oh, they're feeling broody. Looking to breed. Someone told me that. That's avoidance. Tell me what you think. Right, Mike. That's common when you hear people trying to get away with, or, trying to get away with shit. An indicator of deception in that sense. Tammy. We had a Malamute too. It was big. Who liked to dig holes. Yeah, her name is Sasha. And roll around. Yeah, they used to, oh my God. Fucking hell. My God. I've got actually quite a few stories. Surprisingly. Not that I'm going to get into a number of them. Now that you bring that back, all of these memories of the Husky and Malamute especially, that was a real issue with both of those. I guess my lab did it a little bit, but not to the extent. And the problem is with the Huskies, their hair is different, especially when you got to clean it out in that sense. Oh my God, it's, it can be a nightmare. And stink. Those Huskies love to stink. And Malamutes. Yeah, there seems to be a never-ending source of information, volunteered in this circumstance with Jack and Lily. Mike, you're talking about baseline patterns being important. You learn every day, which is key there. Yeah. I hear you. That's part of the addictive nature of it. Getting addicted to learning and really enjoying it and taking it to the next level. And recognizing how effective it is. It's not about always being right, but it's always bringing you to, or bringing you that much closer to what we would refer to as the truth of the situation. I'm astounded in this circumstance how these SOBs can stick together in that. That's kind of, that's surprising. I don't think that's going to hold out forever. Like their alibi and their story is so thin in this sense. And they've been caught on camera contradicting themselves, to the point where people in the audience make videos about it. A no-brainer to an investigator. It's like a no-miss. Imagine it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. There's no possible way that any investigator worth their salt is going to allow that. Imagine what the questions were after that. And then after that and after that. It depends on how we pick up the language we make our own. Well said.
Oh, that's what I have a dog for, so if anybody's around, I let them out now. When somebody comes in my yard, the first thing I do is I look out the window to see who it is, and if I don't know who they are, I open the door and I let my dog go out first. He's only a medium-sized dog, but when somebody sees a dog, they don't know what that dog's about, and this is his property. So I let him do his job.
Now, how literal are we to take Janie here? See what she does just to fool your mind into dismissing things that she says? You know, that's a sly little tactic in my opinion. You know, she dumbs it down to fool your brain into dismissing it because it's clearly nonsensical. Your dog does not own the place. It's not your dog's place. See, she's doing something with her perspective in communication. That's its effect, I feel, is that she's doing it to dumb you down, dismissing it, but that normalizes. So the more that you listen to her, the more that you dismiss, and then your mind kind of overlooks a lot of the more obvious things. That it's very obvious here that you guys have all of this to say, but not a word about Jack and Lily. You guys aren't genuinely concerned about the legitimate circumstances leading up to their disappearance, because to you, it doesn't matter. The normal rules of an investigation don't matter to you. But you never want to commit to any one possibility as to what had happened to these poor children. But you continue to give us all of the indicators suggesting that your story is A, bullshit, because frankly, nobody uses drifting in and out of sleep as an alibi. We know that you were up all fucking night. We've got contradicting reports. And the fact that the two kids aren't just going to voluntarily go out into the wilderness to get themselves lost. Highly improbable. You guys can't wait to talk about the next most improbable thing, though. You're so sensitive about even talking about the possibilities of what could have happened the night before. You want to disregard and say that you forget, and you pretend to forget when even the cops asked you and took the initial report. There's too many you forgets. You forget to do everything. You forget to feed the kids. You forget to change Jack. You forget what they were wearing. You forget changing them. That suggests that something happened the night before. That's why that May 1st is so important. You, of all people, should recognize that because you guys have the most transparent of positions in all of this. Or so you like to lead us to believe. When in reality, everybody sees what it is that you're avoiding. Daniel, Janie. And all of the focus for the 4 months have been from the information that they've presented. They've even taken their time to over-focus on all the little details to reinforce all the false facts that they have propagandized in the media. Any of which have to do with Jack and Lily, other than putting the blame back onto the two victims in this circumstance, when they're the last person that need to be blamed in their own disappearance. Which isn't that convenient for everybody, all the adults in the immediate vicinity. But when you start asking questions, they want to put it back on Malaya because she's not around to defend herself, so fuck her. It indicates a level of coercion going on behind the scenes, one, but it serves multiple, it serves, it also indicates an ongoing resentment towards Malaya and blaming her and the kids for putting them in this circumstance to begin with. And that comes through their language, right? Who's Tucker? Cracker Jacka? That's Janie's dog's name, I found out. All of them drifting in and out of sleep. Yeah, bullshit. Isn't that just the way when your kids go missing and they're never to be found again? Can you imagine even thinking that up? I mean, is there any more vague you can possibly get in this circumstance? I don't think so. And it's all over the place. They don't want to commit to anything and just point it all back onto Malaya because it leaves you, the person questioning them at the time, left with really no alternative in the moment. All while having to give them the benefit of the doubt. You've used that card one too many times. There's no giving these people the benefit of the doubt at this point in time. And I don't believe that the police have. They just are in a position where they have to do their jobs and take the higher road and not, how does Daniel put it? He doesn't want to impede their actual investigation. He doesn't want to, they don't want to fuck things up. They don't need to be telling all of their most deepest, darkest secrets about the case and showing their hand to the suspects, because the suspects would still be out there and they don't need to be in the know of what they know. Of course, it's not like that. It's like Tucker is stuck having to be a substitute for men who didn't want to listen to her BS. She's a real floozy, though. Maybe that's in her past. Maybe I'm being too judgmental. I wonder what that contractor said to Janie to get her, to get her pants off. Hey, baby. How are you doing? Do you need a little wrench turning around here? What does a man need to do to talk the pants off you? Probably just had to treat her nicer than Earl was treating her at the time. Earl was probably on a power trip, right? I'm the man of this fucking house. Where do you think Daniel got all of his unhealthy tendencies? I wonder how that went down. Now I'm even more interested. You guys, everybody's got drama. That's got to be a real inconvenience to them. That's a real annoyance. It's very bizarre that Janie, at this juncture, they're prioritizing their own innocence ahead of anything having to do with the kids. They want to replace what would otherwise be just information you could recite, like the truth as to your day. You could go on for hours about all the nothingness that you did during any one point in the day, and they don't do that. They're sensitive about it and want you to disregard it and focus on the thing that they told the cops. That's the real truth in all of this. That's the real truth. That's her truth, right, Logan? What are all the locations you hope the cadaver dogs search? Well, we're coming up with our list as we go. They're still growing. So we have Daniel's blue 5-speed Subaru. That was the one probably parked in that garage that's in this picture. Maybe there's another one. It was also, according to Belinda, Grandma Gray, that during the search, Justin was actually driving a vehicle similar to that or that vehicle and parked over across where the neighbors are, not kitty corner, but just beside where their trailer is in Garlock Road, up beside the old logging road there, the other side of it. Yeah, Logan just commented on your channel, actually. Nothing special. She didn't comment on anything special. Logan's out. LOL, first line of defense. She's probably here under a sock account earlier. I can't remember what I kicked that unsuggestible account out with. But just to remind you, unsuggestible, you came in here just looking for trouble, being a douchebag. You don't think I know what trolling looks like? That's why you got the 24, because there's certain circumstances where it's okay to get rid of an individual. Has nothing to do with your opinion. That wasn't your genuine opinion to begin with. You weren't here to converse on that level. You were here to contradict and instigate, sadly. That's on you. The fact that you're here gaslighting me tells me that you're probably, for sure, a member of the uncensored group and probably part of their family. So I banned your sock account too.
One thing about the search here, my family has grown up in this area. I have 3 brothers four brothers that live in this area plus myself, and we were all out looking, all of us, because we know these woods inside and out, and we knew where Jack and Lily would have been. As I said, my opinion, from living here 26 years and raising my own children.
Well, what the hell does that have to do with Jack and Lily and what could have happened to them that particular day? Has nothing to do other than probably generational abuse in that circumstance, in my opinion. But it's just an area to take up, add extenuating information. Extenuous.
On this highway, or this 289, for all these years. Why all of a sudden, in my opinion, would somebody stop to pick up two?
I think a big, Mike, you bring up an interesting point. Ron, Earl, and Justin avoid speaking for a reason. That's probably because anything that they would be asked would have to do with the things that maybe Janie has claimed. Her alibi is so, well, quote unquote, in parentheses, important to this, as it's the alibi. But anything that they would say that would mean that they would have to probably engage with Janie, and they know how unreasonable she is. In reality, they deep down know the truth as to what probably happened to Jack and Lily in this circumstance. All you had to do was ask Janie a question in front of the CBC camera, for Christ's sakes, and she damn near jumped out of her skin. That wasn't because she was innocent in anything. And there's nothing about Janie that says love and consideration and caring in this circumstance. Fuck, Malaya went to the goddamn, pardon my language, Malaya went to the gosh darn hospital having a mental breakdown because of the environment around there, and Janie held it against her. That was one of the only times that Janie ever babysat. She was forced to because Malaya wasn't there because she had called to call an ambulance, called 911 because she was having a nervous breakdown. Or would it be a chemically induced, what would the alternative, a chemically induced anxiety attack? Probably think it's the nervous breakdown. Because her and Daniel were always having problems. Justin is the weirdest, though. Wife took him back the same day, brought Janie her tick medication. Justin's wife took him back that same day, like they reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited, and it feels so good. I did that with a mouthful of vape. That was good. Wow, it's true love. It was meant to be. That would have been better if Logan and Justin got together, for the sake of the story. Bonded together through trauma. Tucker probably jumped into the ambulance with Malaya. The more I think about it, earlier I mentioned I felt different about Malaya than I did in the beginning, getting to learn the case because of her level of victimhood in here. I have to say as well, though, she's doing she's doing something that's inexcusable. This is just against the natural way of things, Malaya. You know what you need to do deep down, and you need to come out and tell police what happened to Jack and Lily and take it from there. You can't stay silent forever, and your silence isn't a replacement. And you're doing it on the back of your own blood, your own children. Wade's saying that you're walking around as though you just don't care. Is that true? That's so hard to believe, Malaya. You need to confess to the best RCMP detective there, and you need to come out and you need to pin it all on Daniel. That's it. It's all Daniel's fault, because it really is. Nobody made them treat you this way. And Janie, no matter what reason she's so uncentered, held it against you every step of the way for the 2 years that you have lived in that trailer. That trailer and the environment has everything to do with what happened to Jack and Lily. And the effect of the environment on the adults, especially. You think it's neglected out and about all around the house with just throwing a ratty old mattress out in the back and letting it just sit there and rot. Imagine their own mental health, their own nutrition and nourishment, their own self-care. They've neglected a lot more that you don't see. Fluffy will have an anxiety attack next. For heaven's sakes, Janie. You can understand why they would lie. But at the end of this, there's no excuse as to why these two children are missing. And they don't want to be accountable in any way, even in the slightest. They want to put that all on Malaya. It's impossible. It's mathematically impossible to put all of the blame on Malaya from the perspective of Daniel and Janie in any of this. The fact that they want to do that suggests that they already know that the children have come to their peril. It would suggest that the story isn't what they want the public to believe. They, meaning Daniel, Malaya, and Janie on the first day. Because it's come a long way since that very first day. You would have thought people who have nothing to hide would have had all of the information out that's available right away. And there's really nothing left to say. Here's the situation at hand, and it would be clear as day. But no, they've been protective of all of the information every step of the way. Why? Because they're innocent? And any sort of culpability in the disappearance of Jack and Lily? I think not. I still can't give Malaya any sort of pass because I know the secrets that she's keeping. Everybody knows that she is keeping, and she's been coerced into keeping this silent. One, because she doesn't know the law. I don't think she's wise enough to be as astute or recognizing of the law and the crimes that's been committed potentially, or where the lines blur necessarily, or where the lines were or are. She's been conditioned into thinking a certain way and dealing with it because she's been made to feel shit. She's been abused emotionally herself and put herself through enough self-abuse. And that's the vicious cycle. And again, the kids were neglected throughout it. But guess what? Guess who the most likely problem in this the entire situation is when you're addicted to something is to be having a baby with your drug dealer. You know what's even worse? Living with your drug dealer and his mom. The more that you think about the circumstance, it's got to be an absolute living hell for Malaya in that trailer. Absolutely, and it had everything to do with her nervous breakdown, and it was a real problem, and she was telling us the truth when she told us that she never wanted to be there in the first place. Well, of course not. You didn't want to move in with somebody's mom, for crying out loud. You're trying to start a family, a healthy environment, and you've got all of these hopes and dreams, and you're thinking that you're making the right decision for your future. Until you realize stupid here is fucking high on methamphetamine and has been lying to you for the previous, honeymoon phase of your relationship. But now that you're pregnant, you feel that you can't, you feel that you've got to make choices, and you're in a situation where any choice that you make is the wrong one in that circumstance. because you're not that experienced at life to have already been through it. Sadly. Not that you should be, but you don't need to be. And it's not a lesson that you need to learn. But she's probably used to disassociating to the point where she can manage her daily life. And it's actually nice to get the fuck out of that environment. And there's some benefit to her life just being away from Garlock Road and that gosh darn trailer. And Janie especially. And the torment that she put her and her children when they were there through. There's all kinds of things that Daniel and Janie could have rationally talked about in relation to Jack and Lily and their experience in life there and their actual everyday life, but you don't know anything about that. The only thing that they want to focus on is the very finite, small details that they've presented and told police, and they want you to ignore all of the rest of the encompassing zeit here that takes up the mundane parts of our day that you should really be completely open to and discussing if the need be in this circumstance. But they're too busy chasing away reporters and normalizing it as though they're the ones being victimized and put through an inconvenience because they're going through this act of searching in front of cameras. And they're went to the extreme efforts of covering up their fucking crimes here. They're force-feeding you bullshit propaganda that prioritizes their own innocence still in light of these children having magically disappeared. And they're just more than happy to have people believe that it's possible to have two children just disappear and never to be found again. That's impossible. That never happens. And the fact that their caregivers are the ones that are really insistent upon this is telling. So you tell those cadaver dogs to keep doing a fantastic job, and we'll get this no body prosecution to the next level. Because we can't expect Daniel or Janie or anybody on that side to be prepared to offer up a confession ever. So don't get caught in that trap expecting them to be telling us the truth about any. That ship has already said they've already shared enough information. Anything else is just something to allow them to continue to deny or deflect or do as they do. When some people think that's beneficial, it's just worth mentioning. It's probably not in regards to having an effect on the case. Not right this sec, dear. But it's not the worst. Miss V, Wade's no prize. Wade's a good man. You take that back about Wade. Wade's important. He's more important to this Jack and Lily scenario than people like to give him credit for. Wade has reinforced what the public's suspicion is, bypassing the RCMP and allowing you a little window in to what people were reporting on Daniel and talking about him to the cops. But, everybody's human and they're open to exaggerating and being wrong. But that aside, I don't think he's wrong when it comes to sharing what the problem or the family's problem is with Daniel in the circumstance. It doesn't seem to be something that you would need to exaggerate about. He took the time to specifically point out that they were suspicious, or I should say that they were fairly certain that Daniel was cooking and dealing methamphetamine, or trying to. Well, Malaya was living there, and it's been an issue for some time, and they've been trying to get her out of there because it's an abusive environment. That's Wade. And imagine what Haley, that's the same thing Haley discovered down at the end of the driveway before Logan came down throwing fists, throwing hands. Same thing. Same thing that we're all recognizing as a key contributing factor to what we think happened to Jack and Lily. And the exact thing Daniel's sensitive around. The time between 9 and midnight on May 1st. What happened during those hours? Remember, Malaya said that she was too tired. She's too tired. They came home with garbage bags full of clean clothes. But there's so many clean clothes. The kids went to bed in dirty, soily, days-old clothes without even being changed. No grooming, no bedtime routine, no teeth brush, no snack, no juice box. Usually you know everything that your kids frickin' do. Eat. Right? Oh, no, Daniel, they let them just sneak food off and stash it away in their room just in case they get hungry at any one point in time. What does that tell you about their scheduling? No such thing went to a tweaker. That's part of the problem, because that just comes along with the abuse of the substance, comes along with Crystal. Wade is a real man, country guy, kind but smart. Well, hopefully he hears that, Ambrizia. Yeah, you might be single soon, too. Cindy's probably a little bit perturbed about it, but it's because it takes a little bit of control away from Cindy when it comes to having the truth out there, because the truth causes Malaya an issue. Like, this issue is going anywhere. Why they think this issue is going to go anywhere is beyond me. Why staying silent in a circumstance like this is helping you in any way. Could you imagine what the simple answer to all of that would be? Because the alternative to that would be that of having to go away to prison for a long, long time, wouldn't it? That would be the only reason that would drive you into absolute silence in a circumstance like this. Or you've got the fear of God put into you by your abuser. Maybe a combination of both. Yeah, well, how do you know that, Ambrizia? You think that Wade Wade and Cindy, or Malaya manipulated Wade and Cindy and exaggerated Daniel's so-called cruelty? Get that? Anything's possible. I don't know what would make you say that. You don't have to get to that step yet. That's just disregarding the problems that were obviously occurring within the house. Not right this second. Go find your tablet, please. You don't need me. I would say that's probably more true, C. Taylor. In Breezy, I think she actually downplayed what was happening instead. Yeah, I would say that it would be the opposite. You're not getting the full details as to what's going on in the house. Generally downplay your problems as to exaggerate them. It's usually the way it goes. Malaya is an accomplice. Never forget that. Okay, Brazia. All right. How do you know? She is right now. She's definitely, in my opinion, a co-conspirator in the cover-up. Like, you can't get much more cover-uppy than this situation. Cover-up-ish. You're not bashing him, Miss V? Just he should have called cops if he thought that months ago, not a stranger buying a horse trailer. What are you talking about, Miss V? Oh, you're talking about Wade? How do you know that he hasn't? I'm pretty sure that it was an issue. You're just trying to scrutinize him. You're just trying to find something. Trying to take down Wade's glory. I'm just calling what Wade did solid. He brought some reality to a situation with so much deceit at a time where it was needed. You don't have to believe everything that he said. He sure likes to talk. He wasn't afraid to share his opinion now, was he? That was welcomed. And that was, think about how different of an opinion Wade's is to Janie's. What else is Janie just so eager to hide, and why? Just so eager to say everything around the house is so tickety-boo. Life is just so grand around there all the time. Like, that's blatantly a lie. Nobody's household is. But we don't expect them to come clean and tell us all of their innermost secrets. You know, that's probably a little bit much, but there's a circumstance at hand, one that they want you to forget about. And if you do think about it, don't associate them to having anything to do with it. Wade was speaking openly and was natural when speaking. Oh yeah, crack it, Jack. Yeah, you can. People like to. Whatever. We know what Wade did. Wade did good. Told us the truth about Daniel from his perspective. I appreciated it.
Two kids. As those are the three questions that I keep asking myself. One, how did anybody know the kids were home from school? Number two, how did anybody know they were outside playing? And number three, why was Malaya acting the way she did?
Oh, and by the way, Malaya, why were you acting the way that you did? Great tactics. It's getting predictable in that sense. Friends, it's 2.5 hours. Mike Demand's in here. He's probably going to want to go live. Hopefully, if he goes live, he takes us into the wee hours here Eastern with some fantastic statement analysis. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight for our double feature. We'll be back again tomorrow, pumping out the... What would we be pumping out? We're going to be pumping out more content about Jack and Lily, just talking about it in that sense, because you need to talk about this situation in a way it needs to be talked about. As realistically as possible. Fact-based. No rumors, no drama. It's all about statement analysis. Because that's where we're going to find the truth in this circumstance with Jack and Lily. All right, so keep an eye out for Mike Demand. I'll see you guys back again tomorrow. Peace.